Hello, my friends. It's Rachel and Intimate Alien, and I wanted to have a talk about sexuality, gender expression, being multidimensional on this planet, and expressing as that as like a pride chat. We're in June. June in my country of the United States of America is known as Pride Month to a whole lot of people. And it's when people celebrate the inclusion of every kind of gender and sexual expression and orientation and preference and birthright, or whatever you are talking about. It's someone's who they are. We celebrate people as they are, what their truth is in this lifetime. And I think it's really beautiful. And I wanted to talk about how that affects me as someone who does like to express her multidimensional nature in a physical way. Why don't we start at the beginning? When I was a kid, obviously I grew up female. I was born with female parts. And so there wasn't a question of that. I didn't have any framework for seeing an option for being different pronouns. It wasn't in my landscape. And so I just thought, yeah, I'm female, that's cool. But I knew that there was a curiosity about being more than just female. I never felt like I was in the wrong body or like I should have been male, but I felt like, well, why can't I experience maleness too? And so in high school, I used to talk a lot about wanting a beard and wanting to be a boy. But not in the sense, again, like I never felt trans. I never felt like I was in the wrong body. I just wanted more experience. And I wanted more of that energy included in me. And I wanted a reference made to me about that. Like I wanted the physical expression of maleness, like the beard. I really wanted that. And I wanted short hair after that. And when in my early 20s, I did have very short hair. It just wasn't the short hair that I really wanted, so it didn't last very long. But I always felt like there was no reason why I couldn't have all of it, why I couldn't have male and female. And I think it's because inwardly that's really how I felt, and I do have male energy. We all do, but I identify with beings that are male energied within me now, which I know, but I didn't know that then. And so people, my friends would laugh at me, and they would not in a mean way, but just be like, oh yeah, that's just Rachel. And the same thing with sexuality. When I was in middle school, I told my best friend, when I'm older, I'll probably be bisexual. And she was like, ew, that's gross. Because it was okay to do that then. I don't know why. I mean, I was growing up in a very progressive place right outside New York City. But that was just the common thing then, which is really weird now that I think about it. But I had a feeling, even though I hadn't been attracted to girls yet, that was going to be part of my life, that there was no reason for me to cross girls off the list just because they're girls. I just knew that about myself even before I had a real girl crush or had that inner knowing, you know what I mean? It was more of an intellectual knowing at that point. And then later on, I did go on to have experience with women. And luckily, I grew up in my family was very open and accepting and loving. I have a really close family member who's gay, and my dad's best friend, and that was never a problem. I never felt like my parents were homophobic or anything, and I never worried about telling them any of that. And when it came time to me being with women, I remember I was at a bar with my dad, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going on a date with a girl. And he's like, okay. So I'm very, very blessed and lucky that part of my life I never felt afraid for who I was. And that's a really amazing thing. And so I called myself bisexual then because we really only talked about and referenced two genders most of my life. And even though I felt like I wasn't in any kind of binary, I didn't have those words. So that's just what I called myself, but I never really liked it. I never liked bisexual. And it's probably just because I inwardly knew, like, that's not all there is. Like, if you were to ask me today, I would probably most identify with gender fluid as opposed to non-binary, because I do really love it when people refer to me as he. Like, when my boyfriend calls me he, it just lights me up. It feels so validating. Like, I love it. I can't even describe it. It's so emotionally based, that reaction. And I remember a long time ago when my friend said, "You're a man's man." And I just thought, oh yeah, like, she doesn't even know what she's saying, but yes, it's so true. So that has been, I haven't ever asked anyone to call me he, but when I do get called he, and it does happen, I really do love it.
I think this was my most male look. And it's funny because people do call me he, but they don't call me he when I look like that. They call me he like when I'm looking like a lady. So I just love how all of that plays together.
But I also really feel at home in they, because at the core of me, I do refer to myself as a group being. I feel like, a lot of people think they have one soul and that's who they are, and that's great if that's how they feel, but I feel like there are many beings that make up me as Rachel, and this is one of them, but that I've always been that way, and so I am a they, like, and that sense of the word in the plural, I am a they, and I really love the recognition of that in pronouns. I think that's really comforting for me to be referred to as a they. But I don't think I've really been called they yet for that reason. And I'm just as at home in she just because it's so familiar. And the thing that's come up for me I know we went from sexuality to pronouns, but I think for me it's related because I don't feel like I am male or female. I don't feel like I am just a they in pronoun term. I feel like I'm both. And so, because I feel like I'm both, I can't be gay or straight. And I really don't even feel like I'm bisexual, because when I think of all the possible gender expressions, it's not just two or none. For me, it's like they may identify as more than just male or female, or any random person who feels like they are a new expression, their own expression, everyone's unique signature of that. And so I just like living completely outside the binary with recognition of the more, of the all. It's not that we're stepping out of something, it's that thing never really exists in the first place. I think gender is a construction, and I think we're all entitled to our own gender, our own expression of who we are. And that's really where I live, and that's really where I welcome all pronouns, and I also respond differently to them for different reasons. And I don't feel like I can call myself like gay or straight or bi, because that's not all inclusive enough for me. Like, I'm into all of it, whatever you are. If I'm attracted to you, then I don't care what kind of parts you have or how you feel about yourself in terms of gender. That doesn't matter to me. And it's exciting to me, and it's enlivening to me, and it's like validating for me to think that way, because that's how I've always felt. But we didn't have this conversation back then where I was, in my group of friends and my, media and entertainment life. This wasn't happening, and it's so exciting that this is happening now. I remember a couple of years ago, I called myself gender fluid on Facebook, and then a client came to me because of that, because that's how she feels. And I think the more we talk about it, the more normal this can be. And like, it's cool if you have labels that feel good to you, and maybe they are more normal than what we're discovering words for in the last few decades. But I really feel we are all our own thing. And if we happen to fit into a slot, great. If we don't, great. We're all equal. You know what I mean? So I want to show up more in this capacity because I really do think it matters. Just like when I spoke out a couple years ago and a client came to me because she felt similarly. I just saw my friend post something on her Instagram stories that said that 55% of people were, and sorry, I don't know who created the study. I don't know how broad it was, what sample they used. So I'm not saying that this is true or false. It just struck me emotionally that 55% of people were okay if their coworkers were gay or trans or bi or whatever. And she's like, imagine if half of the people at work weren't okay with you even existing there. And I thought, oh my gosh. Yeah. And I bet a lot of people would lump me into that category just because I don't, I'm with a guy. I appear like a woman most of the time. Like, you don't even know. Sometimes people don't even know really who their truth is and are expressing that on a regular basis. So I just wanted to, open this up. And I love talking about this. So if you have things about you that you didn't have words for before, or you still don't have words for, but you just feel like you're more than these labels that you grew up into, let me know. I would love to talk about this in a bigger way. Maybe we can do a live stream about it. But in terms of all of that, I feel really comfortable for the most part. The only thing that I've been a little uncomfortable with, like sexuality, pronouns wise, is I've had the hesitation of asking people to call me something like they or he or, anything other than my regular she. Partly because it's for a different reason than what I have seen, or maybe I'm incorrectly assuming is reasoning for they for most people, because I'm not denying. I feel like I don't even have the right education or wording to talk about it. But because I feel like I'm a group being, I do feel like a they, even though Rachel is like a female name. And I really like Rachel. I've always liked Rachel. So I don't think I have enough dedication even to ask people to call me something different, because I'm not that dedicated or strict about calling myself different. I have put my pronouns on Instagram for a few months now as she, they, he, and I think that's kind of enough. I talk about it once in a while, but I've often wondered, am I not asking people to call me something different because I don't want to be a bother, or because I don't want to be too much? And at this point, I don't think that's the case, but it'll probably evolve over the next few years. Who knows? But I just wanted to address that too. We are who we are in the moment. We can only access our truth in the moment. And in the moment, sometimes I feel more male. And in the moment, sometimes I feel more female. And in the moment, sometimes I feel more of a group. And I think for me, it's okay to have that fluidity in people calling me different things, even if they're not in touch with what I am at the moment. Because when I am called those different things, I really love it. No matter who I am kind of being at that time, I really love it. So feel free to also call me different things. But in terms of showing up as intimate alien, that has been a process, because I'm not afraid of the look. Going out like this as me, just, getting an iced tea at the coffee shop, not a big deal. I love it. I grew up dyeing my hair. I'm cool with wearing crazy makeup and weird clothes. None of that scares me. But when I'm her energy in public, I get weirded out big time. And she's not weirded out, but I get weirded out because I do feel vulnerable sometimes in that case, because her energy is not surrounding me every day. I'm surrounded by humans every day. Humans look weird at different points. Like this showing up as like a very unique individual is not weird. I've been doing that my whole life. Showing up as her energy. It attracts a lot of attention, first of all. She's very loud. And she is so loving that my presence grows. And whether I like it or not, people notice. Animals notice. Like, and they love it. There's nothing really to fear, but I think throughout my lifetime, the majority of like aliens on Earth stuff has been about shooting them down and eradicating them and killing them in very different ways. And, you know, there's games about shooting aliens, and like aliens are scary and they are harming us and they're coming to invade us. And that, I think, has made an impression on me to the fact where I do get anxious if I'm going to be hurt in public. And to me, this relates to Pride Month because I'm not just human. I am this energy. I am pulling a lot of energy from other star systems. And I love that. It's such an enhancement to my life. I couldn't exist if I didn't do that. Like, the base of me, the base of Rachel, is pulling energy from all over the universe. Like, I'm only here because of that. And feeling safe in the world, being that big version of me, has taken more time than the sexuality pronoun stuff. I kind of feel like this is my version of being afraid to come out, you know, because I'm not afraid to talk about it online. I mean, I've been doing that for a really long time, but it's the being in the world as an alien that gets me. And I do it. I still enjoy it. I do it, but I want to do it more. And I do realize like I am holding myself back because I am afraid. And my friend Carrie, a couple weeks ago, brought up an amazing question. I think it was on a live stream where she said, what would you do if you weren't afraid? And one of these things is be intimate alien more in the world. And I want to go there. I really do. And so the fact that I have that desire and I can verbalize like what's keeping me from doing it is really good. I totally feel like I'm on my way. And but I just wanted to let you guys know that there are things that scare me, and there are things that I feel like I want to do more of, but I'm really slowly walking my way into it. And nothing has gone wrong when I've been her in public. I've done a lot of videos outside amongst people as her, and it's always been amazing and beautiful. And of course, her energy is amazing and beautiful. It's just about me doing it more so that I can lessen that internal nervous system feedback that I have. So yeah, sexuality, all inclusive. Pronouns, gender identity, all inclusive. And galactically, all inclusive. I mean, I'm pulling energy from the Zetas, from the Pleiades, from these beings I don't have a name for, from the angelic realm. Like, all inclusive. I'm all inclusive. I love all of you, no matter if you love yourself or if you feel like there's something that sets you apart from other people. And it's so worthwhile to work on that self-love. And that is what I'm dedicating this year to. It's the more I love and accept myself fully, the better, the healthier, the happier I am, the bigger I can set my sights. Like the more I'm willing to allow into my life, the more worthiness I feel, the easier it is to talk about difficult things with people I don't know, and the more comfortable I am being me in the world. And so it's worth it. It's so worth it. And I just want to thank you guys. Thanks for being a part of my journey. Thanks for listening here. If you have any questions, let me know if you have felt the same way or different way, or if I said something that might not be as intended. Like if you have more information on they, them, and why people call themselves that or want that. Actually, I have a friend who told me like she had the same emotional reaction to learning that you could be non-binary, that you could be a they, them, because she's always felt non-binary. Like I love hearing things like that, and I totally understand that. And that's really the reason why I'm not focusing on they, them, but I include it. It's because I am a they, but it's not because I don't feel like a gender. Like, I love the feeling of male and female and both and none, and I love all of it. So if there is an all-inclusive for any of the stuff we've talked about, let me know. Always open to learning. And if you have any pride celebrations in your town, go have fun and think of me while you're there. All right, everyone. Talk to you soon. Lots of love. Bye for now.
I also just wanted to add that I'm really excited to see more extra dimensional expression in the world and have that become just as normal as everyday people going to the grocery store in their pajamas. That I've got my sights set on that for sure.